Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Happy Friday, Mike.
Happy Friday, Phil, and everybody else there listening to our Random Waypoints. And we're going to be random today, so who knows what's going to happen. Hey, at the top of the show here, I want to say next week, I'm going to be in Ensenada, Baja for the Baja 1000, and Phil and I are going to be trying to do a podcast, but, well, I think you'll get it out on time, Phil, but who knows when we'll record it next week, so stay tuned.
You got a lot of faith in me, bruh.
Hey, we'll see what happens.
Bruh, I heard that there's a MAGA guy in Mexico that met your president.
What's funny about it is
wait. For new listeners, Mike is in Baja, Mexico.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. If you haven't been paying attention, I'm in Mexico right now, and so the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, who, by the way, is the first female president of Mexico, was walking, and she's like, by the way, if just some background on this whole thing, she's super popular, like. I think she's polling at like 85% approval rating here, which is nobody in America hits that ever on any party or anybody anywhere. So anyway, she was walking down the street in Mexico City, I guess between government buildings or something, and some dude literally walks up behind her, puts his arms around her, and grabs her boobs.
That's crazy.
And so she filed I don't know, a sexual harassment lawsuit or something. I guess I think to prove a point. I watched the video like 3 times. You kind of got to wonder if it's a setup or not, because she's the president of a major country. Where the hell was her security? She's walking down the street. There's a whole bunch of people around, and this guy just walks up and has total. He could have killed her. So I don't really. And then she files this lawsuit to not to necessarily prove a point, but to point out that, obviously female harassment or whatever is a problematic thing. She's as the first female president, she's addressing this and whatnot. But you got to kind of stop and wonder whether it was like it was an inside play or something. I don't know, but.
Well, if it's real, I want to give her credit first for setting an example on what a woman should do when something inappropriate happens to her. Speak up immediately and pursue it. That here in America has been an issue where people bring stuff up 10, 20 years later, or they never legally bring it up at all, but they'll be on a talk show talking about somebody did something to them.
Right.
So give her credit for that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The other thing that came across my mind about the whole incident was, Mike, the president of Mexico is in far more danger day to day than the U.S. president or the French president. In my lifetime, it's been a routine thing for them to just get shot in the streets. Not just presidents, but, people in power.
Certainly politicians, because that was the other big news story down here, was that this week we celebrated Dia de los Muertos, which is Day of the Dead. And I was actually kind of shocked because I came back from the celebration here in town, and it's, we got it's a small town, so we've got a little square, and they dance and they do music, and they walk around dressed up, with the Katrina outfits or whatever, with the all the makeup and everything. Anyways, and I get back and I look at this video on my TV, and the mayor, not of my town, but a mayor of a similarly small town in mainland Mexico, was shot right in the middle of the square as the same thing that I had just come to was going on, and was killed. And he was largely killed for speaking out against the cartel, and he had been repeatedly asking Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, for more action, more support, et cetera, and he got wiped out. He got taken out. So it was scary to watch, because the crowd there was no bigger than the one I was at. So I was like, "Oof, wow!" But
So
it happens. You're right.
why aren't it just seems like she should just automatically have a security detail like no other. You
And I
go
would
to
imagine that
you go
most
to
of the
some of
time
these
she
little
does.
third world countries that ain't got no money and they
Right.
got serious security.
Yeah.
So she can afford it.
Yeah. I agree. So that's what led me to believe. I wondered about that because it was a little bit weird.
Mike, this is purely my opinion, but when you're in America next year, you need to enjoy some movie theaters because I'm predicting that 2026 will be like the last year that movie theaters really focus on a majority of people coming to see a movie initially at a movie theater, that whole premise. I think they're going to have to redo the whole thing. AMC's latest earnings make one thing clear: the traditional movie night is fading fast. Since COVID, audiences have traded crowded theaters for big screen TVs and streaming at home where comfort, company, and cost are all under control. But maybe that isn't the end of theaters, it's just their evolution. Mike, are we seeing movie theaters transform into event spaces instead of everyday entertainment?
I think so. I think the end of the movie theater is upon us. I mean, I'll take myself as an example. Like most of what I watch is direct streaming shows, and there's first rate stuff now that comes out, whether you're watching Netflix or Amazon or HBO or any one of them. They're all producing high quality, high budget with big name actors in it, and it's direct to streaming service, right? So, and nowadays, shit, you can go get a 90-inch TV for not that much money. Like you can put a movie theater in your house, super easy. So I don't think that the days are going. It's just a waste of real estate space, I think. And I think everybody got tired of going and spending like shit. You go to a movie theater and you're probably dropping $40 by the time you buy the ticket, a popcorn and a soda, maybe more than that. And then you got to deal with other people or people chewing and making noise and farting and burping and whatever else is going. You know what I mean? Like, so I just don't. I think it's the end of that. And it's interesting that you say this because like one of the top things this year in a movie theater was the Taylor Swift album when she debuted the new album. That was a huge event, and it was more of an event than it was a movie, right? It was showing behind the scenes and it was releasing her new songs, but people were there singing along and dancing. It was more of an event. And I think that may be where they go, but I don't think it's going to support. I think the movie theater is going the way of Blockbuster. That's what I think.
I was specifically going to use the Taylor Swift scenario as an example of the direction I think things are going to go. Theaters might survive by focusing on like big moments, movies that are very visual, using IMAX, in boxing matches, maybe sporting events, big things, special release.
Phil, even concerts. One of my favorite bands of all time, Rush, just got back together with a new drummer to go on tour. They announced this tour, and they originally announced that they were going to go out for like 17 dates or something, and now they've expanded it, and everybody was trying to get tickets. But the reality is going to a concert, because I looked at it to fly into a city to go see them. I mean, you're blowing so much money to go see a live concert now. I think that industry's in trouble as well because, I mean, like not that many people want to spend $500 to $1,000 or even more for a good seat to a big show.
So,
And
Mike,
it's crazy.
So this goes right into what I think my idea is and how things can evolve. You especially, let's say you are a concert act from the 80s that was very popular, but I'm the lead singer and I can't tour 50 states anymore. But if you get me on the mic, I can still sing. Well, I could do a weekend concert in one place and it be done at all the theaters, charge everybody $20, you might make more money than if you had actually went on the tour, considering the logistics and everything.
And it's been going that way for a while, because that's kind of the first step to that was having a residency in Las Vegas, right? So you could stay in one place, people would come to you, you wouldn't have to go on tour in a tour bus or in a plane or whatever. And that's the next logical thing is, hey, I can do it in my own studio, and everybody around the country, or the world for that matter, can watch my show.
Well, we're both in agreement with that. I could see somebody being contrary to that and saying, well, if you're going to do it and send it back to the theater like what we're describing, you might as well have the concert streamed. So Netflix may have even usurped that already, because Netflix is doing those types of things, live watching sports events and concerts. And they even did live comedy.
Yep. As at HBO and some of the others. So a lot of Amazon is getting into, they all are. Yep.
So I really think that I think 2026 is the last year, this is my prediction, where you will see a majority of mainstream movies enter the theater first. I think they're going to have to repurpose those facilities.
I agree. I think it's going to, and if behind the scenes, there's only about, I want to say there's like basically 3 major theater companies in the United States now. So it's only going to take 1 or 2 of them to go out of business, and it's over,
Mike, I have a very nice theater within walking distance to me. And when they first built it, I wasn't too interested in going because it would just be packed. And after COVID, up till now, if I go walk up to the theater, I can get a ticket at the last minute to any movie at any time, even on a Saturday.
Yep. Yeah. That's not sustainable.
Mike, a woman in her 40s was just found dead at Disney's Pop Century Resort, the 4th tragic incident in only a few weeks. What are the odds of that happening at a single vacation destination? And does it point to something bigger going on with Disney's guest safety or mental health environments? Or in a month?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, is it because we're hearing the news about it all the time or something? Because how many people have you heard in the last year fall off a cruise ship too? I swear I've heard that 4 or 5 times too. It's like,
I just
saw kind of the same concept, right?
Yeah, I just saw one where it was a smaller cruise ship that like makes these stops where you can do activities, and they left this lady like on the island, and she died.
Australian lady. Yeah, I saw that.
It was in Australia?
Well, I don't know if it was in Australia, but I believe it was an Australian woman.
Oh, okay.
I think so. But yeah, I heard that one too. But I don't know.
Man, imagine seeing that big ass boat.
Yeah, and you're on some deserted island. There it goes. Not good.
So 2 of them are correlated with mental health. One they definitely know was a suicide. So do you think it's Disney? Do you think it's the location? What is there something deeper going on?
After I paid for popcorn and a soda and tickets to get into Disney, I'd be hanging myself off the Ferris wheel too. Right? Oh my God.
Mike, listen, took my daughter a few times to whichever one it is here in California. Disney World, Disneyland. Yeah. And one of the times we had somebody hook us up with the ticket, so you didn't have to pay the entrance fee. And for some reason, I was like, oh, I'm going to save all of this money. And I was like, they don't even need to charge an entrance fee because they make enough money off of all the other things that you pay for.
Yeah.
Bro, it's just me, my wife, and my daughter, and you couldn't leave up out of that place without spending like at least $400 or $500 in one day for a kid.
Yep. It's crazy. And we talk about the economy on here on the podcast all the time. And this to me, it correlates with it a little bit, where everything seems to be beginning to be geared towards the people that have.
Yes.
People that do not have are going to get shut the hell out.
Well, what's freaking me out is I am having interactions and conversations where people are considering me on the have side,
Yep.
which I've never thought of myself as being on.
Yep.
But that's not saying something good about me. That's saying something bad about the economy, that it's gotten so low that if a person can just afford to sustain themselves, you're looked at as like on the rich side.
Right.
There are a lot of people hurting.
Yep.
And one of my favorite things to do is I don't complain about nothing in my life, because there are people out here really struggling, and I sound stupid complaining.
Yep. Agreed. Yep.
Speaking of money,
here we go.
Tesla's board is betting nearly $878 billion on one man, Elon Musk. They're warning investors that if the pay package fails, he might just walk. The argument: only Musk can turn Tesla into a robotaxi and humanoid robot empire. But critics say this kind of loyalty breaks every rule of corporate governance. Mike, is Tesla really too tied to Musk to function without him?
Unfortunately, I think they are. Normally, what you just said is true. This goes against kind of everything that you would, rule of thumb for any kind of corporate governance. But here's the difference. The difference is that he is the wealthiest guy on planet Earth, number one. Number two, he has, even with his, quote, falling out with Donald Trump, he's still in with many, many, many contracts with the government. And because of SpaceX and his other, Starlink and his other related companies, I think they look at it as, if he were not part of Tesla, who are we? We've lost our identity. And I think that they hope, because he's the richest guy in the world, he's got so much pull, and because of his other. So the thing is, he commingles a lot of the businesses. A lot of the technology is shared between SpaceX and Starlink and Tesla and the Boring Company and all the rest of it. So I think that, unfortunately for Tesla, I don't know that they're not a viable company without him.
I 110% agree with you, especially when you were talking about how he co-brands things from company to company. And it's not just tech or money, it's the cachet of the other businesses that allow him to make some of the moves with the other companies. So I agree that if he is not paid that money, they're done. But here's the thing I'm not hearing in the news. If you remember, Mike, way back when Elon and Trump were first having their spat, I tried to find which episode, but I brought it up that Elon Musk is looking for a reason to get out of Tesla. This would be the perfect scenario for him. They don't pay him the money. He can say, okay, I'm walking. And then he'll forever get credit. He'll be like the Steve Jobs of Tesla. And he'll never get the credit for what's already happening, the downswing of Tesla. The numbers are down everywhere, not just here, other countries. If you look internationally, nobody's buying Teslas, especially internationally, because China's eating them up.
I mean, that's the thing, is they've got so much competition now. You got BYD. I see those guys around here. They're super prevalent here in Mexico. And they're cheaper. And quite frankly, their technologies. Tesla has been very slow to change the cars. You know what I mean? They're all kind of outdated, and it's got a negative vibe, because here's the funny part: all the Teslas were bought by rich, wealthy liberals, and now they're in a quandary because, God, it's Elon Musk, it's Trump's buddy, So what do we do? So Tesla's is in a conundrum, and it's kind of funny to watch because it's like all these people. I got friends that are like, "Oh God, Tesla, I hate it." Really? I mean, it's all your buddies are the ones that bought it. Let's just be honest. I don't see too many conservatives in Montana driving around in Teslas. No. It's San Diego's full of them. So it's irony at its best, and I think if Musk, it's definitely the anchor for Musk.
I don't think it's I think SpaceX is now.
I don't think so. The SpaceX has too many contracts. And it's so heavily funded by taxpayer dollars for one. And that's not going to go away because the problem is as much as it's just not going to go away.
So, but you were saying Tesla was the.
No, I said Tesla is the anchor, not. I mean, Tesla's
you're thinking anchor as in like okay.
Yes, not in a negative way.
I thought you meant like it's the anchor of his business.
No, that's
because I was like, are you crazy?
No. I mean, SpaceX is solid, and as much as you hear the talk about like where obviously they've struggled a little bit with their big rocket and whatever, and they're behind the eight ball trying to get to the moon or whatever. The government was like. NASA was saying, well, geez, we have to look at all the contracts and maybe we've got to open up the bidding. Oh, yeah, open up the bidding. Good luck. Everybody's so many years behind him, it doesn't make any difference. That's just a bunch of talk.
I'm telling you, Elon is hoping and praying they offer him $1 less than what.
Yeah.
So he can say no. That's the perfect move for him.
Yep. It's an out.
So, Mike, for Democrats, there's a real sense of optimism after running the table in Tuesday's off-year elections. A feeling that maybe, just maybe, they found new voices and a message that finally connects. Affordability. But here's the twist. They really haven't locked them down yet. And that's exactly why Republicans should be nervous right now. Mike, does this mean the Democrats are truly discovering a new identity? Or are we just seeing a temporary backlash against the GOP?
I'm not sure you're seeing any of the above. I mean, let's recap what happened on Tuesday. The news is all about New Jersey, Virginia, New York City. Now, the Democrats are going to win those anyways. There's no shocker here. Now, if you told me they won Montana, Wyoming and Texas, we'd be having a conversation right now, but that's not the case. So I'm not, and then the other thing is when you mention the affordability or backlash against the GOP, I mean, if you look at all of the Democrats that won, they're not really even in the same party, quite frankly. I mean, the woman that won for governorship of New Jersey is absolutely nothing in common with her neighbor in New York City. Well, so they're all over the place. I don't know what to be honest with you, I don't know what to make of it. My only thing that I would say is I think it gave them some kind of hope that they can win something. So that's positive. And I do think that there was some backlash against the Republican side for, rightfully so, for a couple things. One, the government shutdown. Two, the economy. Like I said before a million times, cost of eggs, cost of gas, cost of your energy stuff is huge, right? And it sucks right now. So when you got Mamdani out there saying, hey, you get to ride the train for free. We're going to get rent controlled apartments and, when the grocery stores are going to be subsidized, if I'm a regular Joe, and by the way, there's a lot of regular Joes in New York City because even though it's the financial capital of the world, it's sustained by a zillion taxi drivers and bellhops and, all the other people that got to work in all this place. And they hear that news like, wait, I don't got to pay to get on the subway? Oh, I'm in. I'm voting for that guy. The problem is, and this is where I think Donald Trump wins, is that Mamdani now is going to serve in New York City for 3 years before the end of Trump's term. And in those 3 years, I mean, I'll bet you $1 million that he's going to fail at everything that he says he's going to do, because most of the things he said he's going to do, he does not even in his power to do. So I just think, and I do think that the Republicans are now going to use him as the poster boy of the Democratic Party, which is not true, but they're certainly going to turn it into that.
Well, New York is the financial capital of the world, Mike, and Wall Street investors are leaving New York in drove after Zohran Mamdani's stunning mayoral win. And guess where they're heading? Florida and Texas.
Yep.
There's a bunch of news articles and interviews that have come out. They were actually written and taped before the election, and now they've put them all out where they have realtors and investors all talking about, hey, we out of here. So, and realtors are saying you've got people looking at homes and looking at business space, and the per square footage of buildings downtown in places like Dallas and other places have gone up a little bit, even though they're still way cheaper than New York. So the point I'm getting to is a lot of people have been holding their breath, but they've already been preparing for his arrival. If I'm a billionaire, I'm not about to give up more of my billions like what he's talking about. I'm out.
And that's the thing.
And that's what's going to happen. He can't do nothing against that. And New York City especially should know better, because just a couple of years ago, Amazon came in and was going to change the whole economy for New York. They was bringing
AOC got involved.
Yeah. And they were like, okay, we'll just stop construction. We'll leave those lots and we out of here.
Yep. And which is what they did.
So the ideas that he has, if there were true solutions to them, I would like everybody to be able to use public transportation for free and all of these types of things.
It sounds great. Don't get me wrong.
But ain't nobody going for that. Nobody that's working, that's really trying to do something, sees this as sensible. This is people looking for handouts, in my opinion.
The other problem is that, we'll have to see how he handles it and what he says. So let's give him a chance. But, nearly 70% of Jewish people and Catholics in New York City, which make up a good segment of the population, voted against him. So his votes came from non-religious and young people. Mm-hmm. And, he's very, very, very thinly disguised. I mean, he said some pretty anti-Semitic thing.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
Like his speech.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he's a little frightening. And we're talking about a city here that 9/11 happened in.
Did you hear the names that he chose as inspiration throughout his speech?
Yes.
Every person was despicable.
Right.
Wow. And none of them American. What the fuck?
Exactly. So, I think the younger crowd and the people that are only, half listening or listening to the media were inclined to vote for him. And when you say, like you said, free subway, they're in. But give him 3 years, and if he makes any more comments or any, the other thing is the United Nations is in New York City. So this is a real challenge when America is obviously largely supports Israel, and this is not a judgment whether or not what they were doing is some of the shit that Mamdani said. I quite frankly, I kind of agree with, but you can't say it, and you certainly can't say it if you're in politics and in New York City and the home of the United Nations and the home of where 9/11 happened. So, there's a lot of weird shit there. And then I noticed he picked his transition team 100% women, And I'm not saying that there's no, and the irony is he's already getting flack for that, not because they're women, but because they're all like mainstream political people that they don't represent new at all. So who knows? Let's see what happens. But to me, I think this is a card in the back pocket of Donald Trump. I think this helps him in the long run.
I agree. This result really proves what I was saying last week, Mike. Zohran Mamdani's win shows the Democrats are experimenting with a new kind of message and messenger. They're starting to focus on the economic frustrations of working class and lower middle class voters and stepping away from the social issue battles that Republicans have used to define them. What the 80-20 thing that we've been talking about for so long now, he gets it.
Yeah. And that's why I said we gotta sit and watch, because he unfortunately he comes with all that other baggage I was talking about. If he didn't, then I would say he's powerful because he's focused on an 80 instead of a 20. So people are hurting. He's not wrong. New York City is grossly unaffordable. There's no question.
So, Mike, there were a lot of notable Democrats that spoke out against Zohran or didn't say anything at all. So my question is this a sign of the party beginning to split? Is this their own version of a Tea Party style movement emerging from within, like I mentioned last week?
Yep.
I think this
Democratic
is it.
Socialist is the equivalent of the Tea Party. Yeah, for sure. And by the way, he's not the only one. There were some other ones I noticed that won. There was one notable one, I believe, in Minnesota that lost. But
on the one I'm talking about won. It was a guy.
Yeah, well, there was another foreign. I'll call it foreign Muslim person that did not win. But you're right. There was another one that I think that was North Carolina, Virginia, somewhere. You're right. There was somebody else that did win. Also which I find interesting because these quote democratic socialist people, so far, if I had to name the top 5 of them, 4 of them were born overseas. So this is what you and I have talked about here on the podcast. This is bringing in, and in this case, this is an Islamic. I don't want to call it a revolution, but
it's absolutely a revolution.
Okay, I didn't want to say it, but I mean, and the things that he wanted to. Okay, I'll give you an example. The things that he wanted to ban inside of his quote grocery stores were cigarettes, alcohol, and caffeine or something. And this is like Sharia law,
right?
You know what I mean? So I know we're gonna. Oh shit! We better be quiet, Phil. We got people after us all over already.
And Mike, I chose to compare him to the Tea Party and not MAGA because MAGA was like the final product. So yes. I'm saying Tea Party because I think that him and a few other people, they're trying these new messages, new styles, and it's going to form into something else.
Yep. Yeah, I can't stay like that because that isn't going to be. It's not going to appeal broadly enough.
And it's like very scientific the way he's doing this. There are a lot of people who are Democrats who did vote for Democrats still, but I've talked to them and they were like, I didn't want to vote for Trump because of certain things, but they don't like the Democrats totally for some of the issues that they've taken on.
Yeah.
So there are some people that feel more comfortable in their Democratic skin with somebody like a Zohran Mamdani. Yeah. And there are people who liked some of the social issues of the Democrats that would be a Democrat if only they didn't have to deal with some of the ideological social issues So Mamdani, to a vast majority of people, is the perfect mix. Give us money, leave all of these social issues alone. That's really what he's saying.
Okay, but let me just say the unspoken that we're not allowed to say and get thrown off of Spotify.
Get right to that.
No, but one of the reasons I don't think he really supports those social issues, unbeknownst to some of these people that voted for him, is because what's that? Well, yeah.
Rich.
Well, not only that, it's against his religion. Look at all these some of these social issues. Like,
well, when they ever ask him something that would contradict his religion, he either will not answer or he go into a whole nother thing.
Right.
So he feels strongly about his religion because he will not desecrate it.
So you're not hearing those 5% to the 20% thing that we talk about, transgender rights and gay rights and all these things that are going to go against a culture that you would find in Saudi Arabia, as an example. So no surprise there.
But that's almost like a good thing, Mike, because what I'm trying to tell you is there are a lot of Democrats who that part of the issues that Democrats fought for, they weren't really for.
Exactly.
They were happy with the total Democratic package, but they hated these subjects that they had to deal with. So you got a lot of people who are relieved. You got some people who may come back, and you may have some people who don't pick a side that will feel more comfortable choosing that side now. So I don't see nothing negative about this other than I don't like it.
Yeah, the problem is that it's in the long run, and like you said, that's why I would equate it to like a Tea Party movement. It's not going to work because he is subversive. In my opinion, he's subversive to the American system, right? So he's not, from a Democratic viewpoint, he's not focused on those losing issues, and he's focused on the winning issue of the economy and money and helping the people that really need it. All good, but the motivation behind it is where the problem, I think, is going to be. The reason he doesn't like the social issues or is not touching on those is because he doesn't believe in them. And that's not part of the quote Democratic platform. Maybe it will steer it to a more successful situation. But the problem is, I think at the end of the day, I mean, I get it. I'm as it's almost Islamic phobe, but I think they want to. You can see it in London. You can see it in England. You can see it in France. They are trying to impose their belief system. By the way, no different than the Christians and the Crusaders did, and no different than America wants to do when we go into Iraq and say, okay, let's make it an American system. It never works, though. They want to impose his system of beliefs. I'm not picking on him for wanting to do that. I get it. Everybody wants to do that. I'm just saying it's not American.
So the New York City mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani is already shaking things up, announcing an all-women transition team to guide his new administration. He's calling it Team of Excellence, featuring former city officials and even former financial chair Lena Khan. Supporters say it's bold and forward-thinking, but critics call it political showmanship. So, Mike, does this mark a genuine break from old guard politics or just a reshuffled version of it?
I think he's trying to, I think look, the guy's never held a job, right? He's never run a board meeting. So I think he's smart. I'm going to give him that. The guy's very intelligent. And I think he's assembled a group of people that have experience that he does not have. So on the outset, I don't know if I said this on a prior podcast or not, but my Democratic friends will probably disagree with me here, but Mamdani is very similar to Trump. I think this is like Trump's first term. He's putting in a bunch of people that he thinks are going to get things to happen and move because they have experience. And then what he's going to find out is that they're not going to necessarily, I think he wants to rule like a dictator. And they're not going to necessarily go to all the new style that he wants to rule by. And I think that you saw this with Trump. In Trump's second term, he said the fuck with putting in a bunch of, long-term government, administrator people. I'm going to put in all my people that love me to death, and I can just, they're going to yes me, and they're going to do my plan. So I think the two of them are very similar, and I think Mamdani is taking the Trump term one approach.
I can see the similarities that you pulled between him and Trump, but I see in my opinion, far more similarities to Barack Obama. Just the idea of him putting those women together and announcing it that way, that's identical to what Barack did. As far as looks, he's an attractive guy. As far as just about every way I look at him, I see way more. As a matter of fact, some of the things that we're attributing to Trump, I believe that he got from Barack.
But here's the difference, though. Barack never got out of that. He basically kept that for all 8 years. Whereas Trump didn't really want that. Trump wants to be Trump. And I think at the end of the day, Mamdani wants to be Mamdani. Whereas
I don't know. I can't speak on that one. I don't know.
It's hard to tell. That's what I mean. We're gonna have to see.
He doesn't scare me being mayor in that. I don't live in New York.
Right.
But that particular city, being the mayor of it, trickles down to other places.
Yes.
And I see the effects come in like year 2 or 3 of his he's gonna have a holiday year that first year, I think.
Yep.
And then
remember, this guy said he wanted to get rid of the police originally.
He said he wanted to get rid of almost everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else to say about him, bro. And I keep studying things on him. I keep reading the same things about him. I can't get past that first layer of information about him. So that actually makes me question, is there something about him that we need to know? And the only other person that I had that problem researching with was Barack Obama.
Yep. Yeah, I see the correlation.
Barack Obama, there are these big holes in his history, and there's no way for you to recover them.
Yeah. Because all you ever heard was he was a community organizer, which is the same thing that you hear about Zohran.
Mm-hmm. So, Mike, this week's Supreme Court arguments over Trump's new round of global tariffs could redefine the limits of presidential power. The justices, including conservatives like Gorsuch and Roberts, pressed hard on whether Congress can just hand over its taxing authority to the White House under a vague emergency law. It all comes down to something called the major questions doctrine. Is the court about to finally draw a line on executive overreach?
I don't know. That's you got me stumped on this one. That's a tough one. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it could go either way.
So first, let's quickly just go into, for our people, what is the major questions doctrine? It's a legal principle that says when the executive branch claims power to make big economy-shaping decisions, Congress must have clearly granted that power in the law. No guessing, no creative interpretation. So that's the argument that these judges are bringing up. They're basically just saying we would be cutting off the power of Congress and giving it over to the president. And they literally asked questions specifically like that.
Yep. I know it's very subjective too, because it's, whenever you say major financial, it's like, well, what is exactly what defines that? So, I mean, I said this before, I'll say it again. Trump's doing everything in his power to make the office of the presidency stronger and stronger. And whether the court is going to continue, so far the court's gone along with them. Whether or not it keeps going along with them, I don't know.
It don't sound like he's getting any support on this one from the questions. Now, if you listen to the transcript and hear the because you need to hear them ask the questions.
Yeah,
they all sound like, why are y'all bringing this stupid idea to us to judge on? That's how it sounds like they're talking to these. It almost sounds like the judges are talking to these lawyers like they're kids.
Yeah.
And why are you stupid kids here?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I don't know. That's a wait and see. And I guess we're going to hear about it. My understanding is
I think that he's going to lose this one because they've clearly stated they've kind of made a judgment already because they've clearly stated that a tariff is no different than taxes.
Yep.
So that's the end of it right there. A president can't make a tax, right.
Right. Yep.
So I think
and by the way, tariffs essentially are taxes. They are the same.
Well, like I said, if you listen to the transcript, the judges make that clear to them, like to quit even having that conversation with them. Yeah. It's a tax. So that part of the argument, even if they still decide to let them win, it's written in paper.
Yeah.
So somebody can come back and say, no, this judge said this.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mike, you got anything you want to talk about?
Well, we did not talk about what did we not talk about today?
We didn't talk about a lot of things. We didn't talk about the flight. We didn't.
That's a big thing because that might, from a personal standpoint, I got my race teams flying in from all over the United States into San Diego next week. Well, and not that next week. This week, Saturday, Sunday, we're all flying in. So supposedly, the FAA has announced that they're going to cut 10% of flights from 40 of the major hubs. I don't think it'll affect me because I'm flying internationally in, and I think they said that it's not going to affect international flights. But it begs the question. This government shutdown, which you can blame both sides, either side, everybody, all whatever, but it's being used as it's a fact. Let's put it this way: the only people that are suffering now are the citizens of the United States. Whether you're looking for SNAP benefits or you're looking to fly to Disney World, it's affecting day-to-day life for many people, and that's not to say that it's affecting obviously the air traffic controllers and the people that aren't getting their paychecks even more. So it's not, look, if I don't get my paycheck for 2 weeks, first of all, a lot of these guys aren't paid enough in the first place, and now they're not getting a paycheck for 2 weeks. I mean, they've got to go figure out how to pay their light bill. So, I mean,
and here's the next phase of that, Mike, about the pay part. There's talk around, they haven't mentioned a specific job or industry yet, but they've been talking for the past few weeks about even when all of these government workers come back, it used to be, okay, you get this retroactive pay. They're talking about not paying them.
Right.
That's
right,
crazy.
Because that has to be approved by Congress, and that may not get approved in the package. I think Elon Musk actually had the answer to this. I mean, he had said at one point that the FAA or the air traffic control system in general, if you're talking about that part of this, should be privatized because the government's been doing a shitty job with it. The technology is outdated. There's obviously every week we have some kind of scare or something where it's not up to the system that it ought to be. So, maybe this will be, to me, air traffic controllers are necessary government people.
Absolutely.
They're
like military level.
Yeah, this is a safety thing. So It's mind-boggling to me that anybody that is defined as necessary isn't going to get paid. I don't get that.
They were talking about that they scrapped the money together to pay certain people during this shutdown. There should be a fund in every budget where if we have a shutdown, we can go to this money. It shouldn't be no scavenging money from here and scavenging money from there. We should have it.
Yeah, and I mean this won't be a popular statement that I'm going to make, but if you've got that rainy day fund for SNAP, I'd rather see the money go to pay the paychecks of the FAA guys. That's a safety thing, even more so than people not getting their food at the grocery store. There's certain look. If you're going to be in a society like ours, which is a combination of capitalism and socialism, right? Travel is socialist, and the government controls travel, which means they control our safety. So you can't slack on that. Like, that's just not acceptable to me. So, unless you want to change that system and make it capitalist, privatize it, whatever you want to do, Amtrak is a good example of how not to do anything. And that's been a disaster, both directions forever. I don't know what to tell you. It's a mess.
So Amtrak, Mike, that company bothers me, not the company itself, but Amtrak, you can pretty much get anywhere you want. You can get to pretty much all 50 states on Amtrak.
Yep.
And I have never heard anybody that's a government representative, let alone a president, ever say anything about improving the train system, adding to the train system. And I think with our population at the size it is now, I'm thinking with all of the planes in the air, we need to work on the infrastructure of our train system, and not just for citizens to travel, but the train system for transporting of goods and everything.
Yeah, freight.
We need all of that increased. It's a shame that Amtrak.
You know who owns the largest train freight company in the United States? Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway. He agrees with you.
Well, he ain't doing nothing about it. He need to put some money in one of these presidents' pockets so that, because if you go to other countries and they have a glorious train system.
Yep.
It's a miserable thing to get on a train here in America, whether it's public transit, whether it's Amtrak or whatever. The only train that I ever enjoyed was the one that goes from Boston to New York. I'm sorry, from DC to New York.
Yeah, that's
DC to Boston.
Yep.
I forget the name of that train, and I only did it a couple of times. But I was like, people actually go to work like this? This is wonderful.
Yeah.
So, anything else, Mike?
No, I just got to get ready to do my race. So next time you see me, we'll be chatting from.
So give me as many details as possible. That's what I'm trying to get you to, before we get out of here, you give me as many details as possible, because we announced it last week and I'm sure people want to know what's going on.
Well, we're racing the Baja 1000.
Yeah, Mike, but I mean, like,
I got asked by a team out of Houston, Texas. I believe this is their fourth Baja 1000 they've done, and they co-branded the car Drive the Globe and Baja Goats, which is the race team.
So are you a driver? Are you a navigator?
I am a navigator. I call him a co-driver. I've got to be able to drive the car if something happens. So I'm going to be riding with David, who is actually the team owner. And, so if he becomes incapacitated for some reason, I'm going to be driving, or at least getting the car somewhere to safety. But because it's such a endurance race, it's 900, it's close to 900 miles. We have 4 drivers and 4 co-drivers. So there's 8 pit stops. So we're going to do 2 shifts. So each set of 2 people does 2 shifts. So we got eight shifts to get us to hopefully win the race. We think we can win the race if we can do it in like 31 hours. So that, I mean, it just goes to show you how rugged this course is.
So did they like look at your resume, or how did they know that you should be a navigator?
Well, so the team firmly believes in bringing in new blood. They all started from scratch. David himself, the team owner, started from nothing. And we're hopefully next week you guys are going to hear from him, because I'm going to try to get them on the podcast with me from Ensenada, and he can explain it to you. But by and large, the team, unique to us, I think a lot of them are just doing it for whatever. This team we sponsored, or we are doing it into support of the Ronald McDonald House Charities. So we're racing for, we got the Ronald McDonald logo on there and everything. So we're trying to raise money for that foundation. And so every year he tries to bring on somebody new. And this year he combined it with figuring that they could bring on somebody that also has a large media presence and does social media. So I'm going to be like, if you're not following my other socials already, if you're listening out there, I'm going to be live streaming like the whole week. Like I'm going to be putting it up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere, behind the scenes. Like, here we are checking in. This is the race car going through tech inspection. This is us putting our diapers on. This is us, whatever it is behind the scenes. I'm going to take you through the whole week of getting ready to do the race, because I get there on a Sunday and we don't race till Friday.
And Mike, just quickly before we get out of here, there are some people don't know what the Baja is, or what the relevance is, or where it stands or something. Just quickly.
Baja 1000 is one of the largest off-road races in the world. It's world famous. It's the 2 biggest races of the Baja 1000 and Dakar. And Dakar now happens in Saudi Arabia. Baja happens every year in the Baja Peninsula in Mexico. It is what they call off-road desert racing. Largely, that's what those 2 things are. So it's super rugged, fairly unsupported from a standpoint here in Mexico. You're out in wilderness. We have chase car. I mean, this is a big operation. Our team has 26 people on it. We have 4 team chase cars and 4 pit crew chase cars. So we have 8 chase cars that are going around supporting the actual race car on this loop. So we're gonna have our hands full. It's high tech though. I mean, we got Starlink on board the car, Starlink on board our chase car, so we'll be able to tap into the internet and let you guys know what's going on. We've got the onboard race computer in the cars tracks like other cars in the race. You'll be able to track where our car is if you go to. It's run by an organization called SCORE, which I think stands for Southern California Off-Road Racing Association, but ironically, but it happens here in Mexico. But it's big bucks. We are not in the top class. The top class of this race is professional drivers from NASCAR, from a lot of famous names that you may or may not have heard of. They are driving what they call trophy trucks. Those things are well over $1 million to build the truck. So, I mean, this is big bucks. They've got helicopter chase support and everything. So this is a big deal.
So Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. If someone asks me, hey, Phil, tell me about this race that Mike is in, I would say it's probably at the top tier of it. They're the F1 of off-road racing.
Yeah, this is like the Indianapolis 500 of off-road racing. That's what this is. This attracts huge dollars to Mexico. It's actually one of the big sponsors is the government of Mexico. It brings big dollars down here south of the border. It's a big event. I mean, it'll track hundreds of thousands of people watching it. And it's on TV. I don't know what channels and what networks it's on yet, but I know they broadcast it as well. But it's a big deal. So I'm super excited to do it and quite honored that I was asked to get involved for sure.
I'm excited for you, Mike. I'm going to live through you on this race. I'm looking forward to it. And our listeners will keep you up to date. I may even do a solo podcast in the middle of the week dedicated to giving out information. And when I say solo, I'll do it with you, but
Yep.
You know what I'm saying. I
Yep.
may give some updates during the middle of the week.
That sounds good. So stay in touch and we'll talk offline with you, Phil, but we'll coordinate for next week and we'll try to get some of the team on the podcast so you can hear from somebody other than me and explain what the hell's going on.
Oh yeah, that's going to be exciting. Anything else, Mike?
That's it for today.
All right, guys, you know what I'm going to say. Stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully we'll see you here or on a trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.